Hello, everybody, it's Tim here again. Here another movie review, this time for Killers of the Flower Moon. Directed by Martin Scorsese and starring Robert De Niro and Leonardo DiCaprio. Now, this film is pretty much an awards contender, obviously, by Martin Scorsese. Directing in it is great. There's really good directing here. In terms of the story, this is based on a true story, and I actually looked it up, and pretty much most of the movie is pretty much real. It's about this Indian tribe that finds oil on their land, and of course, after they find it and everything, they become rich. So they start integrating more with like white culture and everything and all that. And then Robert De Niro's character, who like learns their language and everything, who plays a real slime ball in this movie. Good performance, but his character's a total piece of shit. Uh, Robert De Niro's character in it, he learns their language and everything, so he can take advantage of them, and he wants to basically steal their land because he's got the oil in it. And Leonardo DiCaprio shows up, who's his nephew, who comes back from the war, I believe, and he wants to get Leonardo DiCaprio to like marry one of the Indian girls and everything, so he can like get it, so he can kill off all the Indians by poisoning them or just having them murdered and everything, so he can eventually get the land because it'll be in his family's name because the nephew will have it. Overall, I like this movie. I didn't love it. It's not a great movie. It does extremely lag. This movie's like either 3 or 4 hours long, and I did feel it. This is a long film. Like, Oppenheimer went by faster than this movie did for me. Maybe I was just more invested with Oppenheimer because of Cillian Murphy's performance. Not that Leonardo DiCaprio's bad here. It may have just been the story, though, of that one. I think just kind of flowed better for me. Leonardo DiCaprio's great here. This is a great performance. He's a great actor. He's definitely come a long way since his, like, good-looking boy, mainstream actor days or whatever. He's grown much more grown as an actor since something like Titanic. He's great here, but the best performance in the movie is by him. The Indian chick who plays his woman in here, though, his wife, she does a great job too. This actress does. He wants to get Leonardo DiCaprio to like marry this Indian girl so they can get the the land and everything like to them, like in their family's name or whatever, in their bloodline. But Leonardo DiCaprio really does fall in love with the girl. It's like he doesn't plan on marrying her just to please Robert De Niro. Like, he wants to marry her because he loves her. But Robert De Niro's kind of egging him on, like, you shouldn't marry this girl. Like, Leonardo DiCaprio's character's kind of stupid in the movie, and so he's easily just manipulated, even without realizing he is manipulated. And so he marries her, and like I said, the movie just goes by really slow, because this is a really simple story that easily could have been condensed down to like 2 hours or 2.5 hours. It's way too long. It's a really simple story, and we see most of it for most of the first half of the movie, just random Indian characters getting taken off one by one. Some of the Indian characters, or actors or whatever, they're obviously authentic Indians, but a lot of them you can tell aren't really actors, so some of their acting is just not really there. They're just kind of like doing the best they can, but it works out well, good enough, because they're actually authentic Indians, so it's cool. I appreciate that the movie did that. Like I said, Leonardo DiCaprio does a great job here, like doing his hillbilly accent. He's got mastered in this, and like Robert De Niro plays a complete piece of shit. Through the whole first half of the movie, it's just pretty much Robert De Niro being a piece of shit and having the random Indian people killed off, which is really sad. Just made me really pissed off while I was watching it. I just wanted someone to like punch Robert De Niro's character in the face, which means he did a good job. But yeah, until the FBI finally gets involved, or like the wife of Leonardo DiCaprio's character goes to like Washington and gets the government to finally send the FBI in there so they can like go to town and finally figure out who the hell's murdering these people. Of course, they discover that's Robert De Niro, and Robert De Niro tries to like tie up loose ends by having people that he's hired or whatever, like to kill the Indians and do different stuff and everything for him, illegal stuff. He's having them like killed off and setting them up to be killed. Like, he's telling one to like rob a bank, and then he goes and like rob a store or whatever, and he goes and like tells the person who runs the place, like, I hear your place is going to be hit at such and such time. And then of course it's a setup for them to show up there, and then the guy who runs the place shoots them and takes them out. He's tying up all his loose ends. Pretty entertaining. And of course the FBI gets people to roll over Robert De Niro because they don't want to do jail time and all that, and they get cut deals. And finally they get Leonardo DiCaprio in there, and they get Leonardo DiCaprio to finally roll over on his uncle because his child dies from like the whooping cough or whatever, and he knows that if he doesn't do something to stop Robert De Niro's character, Robert De Niro is going to murder his family as well. Because that's the thing, like Leonardo DiCaprio's character in the movie, one of the things that kind of hurts the movie is you don't really know how stupid this character is supposed to be, because he's doing all this stuff for Robert De Niro, and he obviously knows Robert De Niro's character is a piece of shit, but at the same time he's giving his wife these insulin shots because she's a diabetic, but they're poison shots because they're like recommended from his uncle, from Robert De Niro's character, and he's the one that's getting them to Leonardo DiCaprio so he can give them to her, so they're like laced with something so it can kill her. And finally at the end the FBI shows up and rescues her, and she survives, thank God. But yeah, So you know there's got to be something in there, and that's really the reason why his wife leaves him at the end, because he's like talking about my soul is cleansed, because I finally rolled over on my uncle. But then she's like, well, what was in the shots that you were giving me? And he's like, insulin, and that's the reason she walks out and leaves, because he's not willing to own up to the fact that his uncle or whatever was poisoning her, and he was the one giving her the shots. Because the thing is the way they play it, almost the way they play it is like Rob De Niro's character is a scumbag, and that Leonardo DiCaprio's character knows that the shots he's giving his wife are hurting her. Like, he knows they are hurting her, that is what's doing it, but at the same time that he's lying to himself and pretending it's not hurting her. Like, he doesn't want to own up and admit to himself that his uncle is trying to kill his nephew's own family. So he doesn't want to own up to that, admit it to himself, and so because of that, his wife finally leaves him at the end, because you get the idea that she would have forgave him for like all the other horrible crimes that he did by helping out Rob De Niro's character, like kill the other Indians, but because of the fact he won't own up to the fact that he was poisoning his own wife because of Rob De Niro, that's what makes her leave. That's what makes her divorce him. And I'll say this, the ending of this film, like the last final, is kind of weird, because it's got a bunch of dudes on there reading off like information about what happened to the real life people and everything. It's kind of weird, because it feels like almost like this movie just all at once transformed to like it was almost a play or something. So it's just a really weird ending. Overall, the movie's too long. Brendan Fraser and John Lithgow pop up at the end for small roles as lawyers. They both do good jobs. Overall, it's a 3 out of 4 movie. It is a good film that is well directed, well acted. It's overlong. It's not a hugely engaging story because of the fact that it is so stretched out, but it's still a story that gets you interested and keeps you watching if you're into this dramatic type of movie. Overall, it's a 3 out of 4. This is a good film. It's not a great film. I wouldn't watch it again, not because it was bad, but just because of how long it is. Would I buy it? Sure, I'd pick it up for $10. It's a good flick. It's a solid 3 out of 4. Would I recommend it? Yes. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you again.